Hey everybody, I was just going to do a quick tutorial here on the electroluminescent panels. If you saw my Zone Mortalis video, you will see how I used one of those in there to simulate a backlit window. And if you're not familiar with electroluminescence, basically this here is one of the panels. As you can see, it's a paper thin panel, and it's just connected. This one's just connected to a little 9-volt battery. And what you do is when you turn them on, the panel lights up, and you can control the brightness, make it dim, or you can go really bright with it. This controller also has the ability to set a blink rate. So for whatever reason you wanted it to blink, you could do that as well. These panels, if you look down in the description, you'll find a link to where you can buy them. They come in different sizes. This is just a small rectangular one. They also have round ones, and you can get larger. This is like a 2-inch square, and they go all the way up to sheet paper sizes. There's also these long strips here. This one's about 32 inches maybe. And finally there's also electroluminescent tubing, and I'll show you that in a second. It's got some pretty cool potential to it for things you might use it for. Now if you saw my other video, you'll know I used it for backlighting a window, and the way I did that was actually really simple. This is, compared to my other tutorials, this one's going to be really easy. There's no wiring or math involved in this, so it's pretty simple. Like I said, it's just getting the panels themselves, and they already come pre-wired, and you can get the power supply from the same place. So really all there is to it is connecting your panel, plugging it into the power source, and you're set to go. And you can get different there's a lot of different options with this. There's cables that'll split if you have more than one panel you want to use. You can actually get they go anywhere from 1 to 5 panels. You can get a wire that'll split into 5 different connectors, so you can use up to 5 panels of different sizes in a project. So you have a lot of options there. And there's a couple of different ways you can use it. I'm not going to go through every conceivable use of this. I mean, I'm sure if you've done any lighting or anything like that in any of your projects, you'll be able to think of some things right off the bat for this. The first thing I was just going to show you, though, is how I did that window in the Zone Mortalis board. And like I said, it was really simple. All it is having this, and then just on a regular piece of paper, just printed out on an inkjet. Printed out, what I want to use in the window. And this one here is just a picture of the Emperor, and in Photoshop I went in and added some like blast damage and cracks to it, so when it's lit up it'll look like a cracked window pane. So all it is just a matter of putting this on here, and it's bright enough where it'll light up through the paper. Now one of the other cool things you can do with these panels is you can actually cut these. The only thing you have to be aware of is, like on this one here, there's the strip up here. You want to make sure that this is still connected to your panel. You can actually cut off parts of this, but you have to leave some of it because this is where the electricity flows through. The way these work is there's really two small pieces of plastic, and sandwiched into between there is another piece with the electroluminescent film on it, and basically an electrical current will light up the film. So as long as you have enough of the circuit here to allow current to go through, you can actually cut this. And that's what I did on the Zone Mortalis board. I actually cut it into the same shape as the panel, and I'll actually just to show you how quick and easy it is, I'll just show you here. This just cuts like a regular piece of paper. So the first thing I do is just put this on there, trace around where the outside is, and then you get a pair of scissors and you cut it. Now what you should do is on the side where the electrical thing is here, you should, when you cut this, you should put a piece of tape or something over there, just because that'll be exposed. It's not enough to shock you, but if there's other things in your project, like if it's near another piece of metal, you could create a short circuit and burn out your power source, or I don't know if you'll actually burn out the panel itself, but just best practice, if you do cut across the metal strip, just put a piece of tape or glue over the end so it's not exposed. So on this here, can't really see my line too well, so I'll just do a quick and dirty. Here's, let me get my scissors and I'll just cut along it. I'm just doing this just to show you how easy this really is. Like I said, compared to things like my other video on LEDs, this is a very straightforward and simple thing to do. And if you're looking at doing this on the Zone Mortalis board, the nice thing is the width of these panels is exactly the right size to fit into those alcoves. So I've got that cut out, and there you go. Easy as that. And again, the cool thing with these panels is you can actually, you could cut out any sort of shape or design if you wanted to. And here you could cut a hole in the middle and the rest of it would still light up. Like I said, it's just keeping enough of this intact to, you know, I wouldn't want to cut this to maybe keep at a minimum maybe a ½ inch of that there, so it has enough room to ignite the panel. And these are cool. It's just like LEDs. There's no heat involved with this. So again, it lends itself to a lot of pretty cool things you can do. And like I said, the first thing I did for is, as you can see, this kind of, shut off a light here and you can see. So this is actually on its, I believe this is its, put on its lowest setting here. It's kind of tough with the camera because if I do it too bright, it'll actually white out the camera. So, and you may hear in the background there is a, you hear a high-pitched hum. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but if you turn it way up, you know, you can hear it. That's just the nature of these panels. It's just something about them. But I found if you put it down low enough, it'll actually go away, and it's still plenty bright to show the picture through it. Now again, this is just a regular piece of paper. Other things you can do is, let me grab another panel I haven't cut. Because other things you can do is you can also use transparency film if you want. And you can do, because one of the other things I would see that this would be useful for would be if you wanted to, in your, whatever it is, your terrain diorama, what have you, you could set up, say, I don't know, billboards. I think that'd be kind of cool if you had a billboard that was lit up. And one of the, I have a couple of just little things I printed out real quick to show you some examples. This is just printed on transparency film. So you could have a propaganda billboard. I just have a quick frame I made here. So if you had a billboard set up, obviously it would look a lot neater than this, but you could set something up so it actually looked like a backlit billboard, whether it's for propaganda. There's all sorts of other ones. Let's see. Here's another one for any of you Doctor Who fans out there. And if you know what this is from, throw something down in the comments. Be curious how many people are. Let's see if you can actually see it. Hopefully you can see it. The Fruity Oaty bars. Just to see how geeky people are out there. If you know what this is from, throw a note down below. But turn the light back on here. So like I said, there's a number of different shapes you can do. This other neat one, I haven't figured out exactly what to do with it yet, but this is a small round one. It's actually pretty much the same size as the base for something. So I don't know if you could underlight a figure maybe. I don't know if it was just off the top of my head, one of the things I could think of is if you had, say, some kind of grill work on the base and you wanted to look like there's light coming up through the grill, you could actually have your base of one of your figures lit up. I mean, you'd have to figure out what to do with the rest of the wire and stuff, but there's any number of ideas there. And again, now these are all white. You can actually get these in blue. I think are the two main colors they come in. But you could always get a piece of colored cellophane if you wanted to change the colors up, just to put over that and put behind whatever it is you're lighting up if you wanted something other than white or blue. And again, if you use a piece of paper, like on these, it'll just show through the colors that are on the paper. But again, if you wanted something like red or something to add some mood lighting or add to the ambiance of your terrain, you could certainly do that. And finally, the other thing I picked up was this here. This is a light tubing, and if I recall, I think this comes in like 8 different colors. So I'll just show you this real quick. Turn the light off. So right now it's at its lowest, but you can get this pretty bright. And this I think would be pretty awesome for what I was thinking of on the Zone Mortalis board. If you are familiar with, there's like some power cabling and stuff like that. You could have this hanging through the ceiling, a different color or brightness, what have you, so it looks like a power conduit maybe. I don't know, just a thought. But yeah, these I think comes in various colors. So like I said, I'll put a link down below if you want to see what's out there. And these aren't super expensive. They're probably on par with if you were doing something with LEDs. Although again, it's a completely different application. Different application than you would use LEDs for. Just opens it up to some other things. One of the other thoughts I had was I don't have it handy, but like the landing pad. If you've seen the landing pad they have for the from the GW terrain, it'd be kind of cool on there if you did a cutout, say, of like the Imperial Eagle on the landing pad, and then you could have it kind of backlit. It would be the reverse of this. For instance, if you had this like cut out on the pad and had a panel underneath, so it looked like a illuminated Imperial Eagle on the landing pad, I thought that'd be kind of cool. So like I said, there's any number of things you could uses you can find for these. For even the smaller ones, if you wanted, again, since these are fairly flexible, they're not super flexible. It's like I don't know, maybe the thin plastic card. So it's not like you can be able to turn this in a 90-degree angle or anything, but you might be able to do illuminated control panels. You know, maybe print something out on the transparency stock or piece of paper, and then it would look like a lit up control panel. So again, there's any number of applications for this. The whole point of this video was just if you weren't familiar with EL panels or electroluminescent panels, I just wanted to make you aware of that, because there's a ton of applications and things that you could do with these in terrain or dioramas, anything like along those lines. If you just wanted to add a little extra pizzazz or what have you to your diorama or terrain. And I'm going to be using this probably in some of my other Zone Mortalis boards. For that specifically, if you wanted to see, the other details of how exactly I use those in the Zone Mortalis, like I said, you can see my other video, and you can probably figure it out. I mean, the basics are here for how I did it. And as far as sliding it into the alcove, it's just a matter of cutting a small groove at the bottom of the alcove to slide this up through the bottom. And on those, there's enough space underneath that you can hide all the electronics. Right now, under there, I just have the panel and the wire, and then if I want to light it up, I'll just plug this in on the side. And as far as the power source goes, you have the option of there's like 9-volt. You can get a battery. This is a 9-volt battery, and there's another one that's just holds, I think, like 8 AA's, so you can get like a 12-volt. And there's a couple of other different size batteries, and you can also use AC. They sell AC adapters. If you don't want to use batteries, you can just plug these into an AC adapter as well. And you'll notice this actually has a belt clip on it, because the original use for these, I'm not sure where your part of the world, if raves are still popular or things like that, but a lot of people will actually take these panels and different things, and they'll put them on their clothing, and then they'll have these flashing and stuff when they're at the clubs. So that's why there's actually a belt loop on the back. So again, if you're watching this and looking for other applications outside of miniatures, again, you could illuminate your clothing. Again, it's kind of sky's the limit with what you can do with these. It's just a matter of putting your thought into it and kind of figuring out what you want to accomplish. So like I said, the basics are fairly easy. It's just the panel, plug it into here, print out what you want illuminated or backlit, and you're good to go. So that's really all there is to it. If there's anything I didn't touch on in this video, let me know. If you have any specific questions, I could try to help you out, but again, I think most of this you could probably figure out on your own. It's, like I said, pretty straightforward, but certainly if you have questions or anything, put them down below, and I'll help you if I can. So until the next time, take it easy, and I will talk to you later. Bye.